Now, to explain what's happening and what we can expect in the elections on the 30th of June and 7th of July, we're joined by Pascal Drouhaud. He's an international relations expert. Welcome to TVP World, Mr. Drouhaud. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you. That's a pleasure.
So, I mean, this is really quite a decisive shift, is it not, towards the right in France. What made it happen?
Well, the president used the Article 12 dissolving the parliament. Why? He saw the results on the European elections and obviously decided to dissolve because right parties who are fighting against his party Renew, the former majority, were winning those elections. He felt a real faintness in the country since the last presidential elections 2 years ago in 2022, and then decided to redistribute the roles at the parliament. Definitely, of course, he decided thinking that he will create a new majority. But as you said very well, the polls are showing for the moment that the National Union Party, the right party, nationalist, is winning the gap with other parties, with the Renew, the centrist, the party of the president, and with the new union of left parties. So today there are three blocs emerging, and the right side, a more sovereignist party, the Union Party, is definitely within the gap, having, depending the polls, between 31 to 36%, understanding that into 1 week, French people will vote to elect 577 members of the parliament in 577 different places in France and overseas.
Right, okay. So, but, what is it that Marine Le Pen's party is actually saying that resonates with so many people?
Well, in fact, it is a strong faintness in France since many years. French today, depending the polls, are saying that they want a new proposition on security, on the republican order, on immigration, and also on the purchasing power. Marine Le Pen was the president of the party of the right side, Union Party, but as you said, the president of this party is Jordan Bardella. Is a new figure, 28 years old, a new figure on the French political situation, and definitely saying since many years on the fragmentation of the country, communitarization of the country, on the Islamization of the country, asking for the new republican order. Today, the French are hearing those topics, and they have more confidence for this party. Now, this party is no one. I mean, as a story, has changed, but definitely that's a party who was identified as extreme right party during many years, but definitely those last years in France, the evolution inside with new leaders, as Jordan Bardella, the new president, has changed the figure of the party. And today, the French are hearing the message of this party. That's a new situation, creating worry in part of the French, but also today the French people is saying, well, we must try this party. He has a new allied. The new allied is the one part of the former governmental party from the right, center right, from, you said, you was talking about the former president Nicolas Sarkozy. So a former party, a governmental party, the Republicans, one part of this party allied few days ago, the Union Party of Jordan Bardella, and definitely the polls today are showing that they will be the first bloc at the next parliament who will be elected the 7th of July for the second round. Because in France, for the members of the parliament, you have two rounds. As for the presidential, the first one will take place into 1 week, the 30th of June. The second one, the 7th of July, electing those 577 members of the parliament. We are living in France a key moment, historical moment. The French will choose between those three blocks, but for the moment, advantage to the Union Party if we are looking the polls.
Yes, they might have the advantage, but they don't have enough for a majority. So it's likely that coalitions will be formed. How do you see that happening? And who do you think they're most likely to partner with in Parliament?
Yes. A few hours ago, polls showed that the Union Party of Jordan Bardella could have between 240 to 280 members of the parliament. That's historical. The absolute majority is 289 members of the parliament. So they are very close. I think that definitely they will find 10 members of the parliament or a new allied. Now, it could be the other bloc, Renew, the party of the president, could have 100 members of the parliament. It would be a defeat, having until a few weeks ago the relative majority of the parliament, and the bloc of the left parties will have between 160 to 210 members of the parliament. I don't think that the bloc of left parties and Renew would create a new majority at the parliament. So today, we are Sunday, but today the advantage is definitely for the right side, with the allied of one part of the former party, the party of the Republican, former governmental party.
Indeed, but it's not going down terribly well, is it, amongst a segment of the population? We see protesters out on the streets in Paris and other cities. Now, what are they protesting about, and do you think it's going to make any difference anyway?
Well, as you are showing, we remember the presidential elections 20 years ago, when Jacques Chirac won against Jean-Marie Le Pen, the father of Marine Le Pen. But it was 20 years ago. It was a movement of Republican Union. And since that time, French lived many crises, internal crises, economical. We remember the Yellow Jacket 5 years ago, terrorism, We all remember the attacks on November 2015, for example. Since then, every month we have one action, terrorist action or intention. They lived, as all of us, the pandemic. So they lived many crises and losing illusions. That's why I was saying that it was a strong faintness in the population, creating, of course, some part of mobilization in the population, but today it is not the very
Right.
strong mobilization we could live 20 years ago. So that's why we are living this historical moment today with a new panorama.
Understood. Well, thank you very much indeed, Mr. Pascal Drouhaud, for laying all this out for our audience, and have a good evening.
Do widzenia.
Do widzenia.